Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a new video. So we're actually going to be doing something that I was not intending to do on this car at any point. Honestly, it didn't even cross my mind. However, this really started becoming more transparent after I installed the recaros. And what I'm actually talking about is the center console. The recaros sit quite a bit lower than the stock seats, so it kind of positions your entire body and your entire driving position way different than stock. And because of that, the armrest, the center console, is in more of an awkward spot than if you were driving on the stock seats. Now, it's something that I can obviously get away with. It's not the end of the world, but there are some options out there to remedy that. Now, I thought about my E46 M3 back in the day when I owned that car, and one of the things that you were able to do, well, actually two different things, you were able to do a armrest delete. It was a relatively cheap modification to do, and the main purpose of it obviously was to delete the armrest. It was great for the manual guys because shifting, kind of the armrest got in the way, and to be honest, on the E46 M3, the armrest was a little awkward. It was kind of oddly placed. It looked a little kind of off-putting and not the best positioning for it. Now the F80, I'll show you in a second, is not bad. Honestly, I think it looks pretty darn good, but with the recaros, as I mentioned, you do sit quite a bit lower, so the armrest actually gets in the way. And this being a manual transmission F80, it definitely is something that kind of gets in the way and a little bit of annoying. So this is the armrest in question, the whole center console piece that I'm talking about. This is a stock console from an F80, F82, F83, M3, M4. Mine is a little bit different. I added the M Performance parts, so Alcantara armrest, the Alcantara e-brake boot from IND with the M-stitch and the matte carbon here. Also, I got the M Performance shifter here with the matte carbon. This piece, the whole shifter surround, is Alcantara with the M-stitch. I did a whole video on this. This is from MF Interior. I also have the armrest over here, or the door pulls in Alcantara. I did a video on that. This is from MF Interior as well. But it's a really, really nice looking console. I really like the carbon here. I think it's a nice touch. But as I mentioned, since I'm sitting quite a bit lower in the recaros, it gets a little awkward shifting. So I'll kind of try to show you what I'm talking about. Shifting into first and second is pretty easy. So as you can see, this kind of dips down right here. My arm fits nicely in there. I can shift into first and second, no problem. Once I start getting into higher gears, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, my arm starts to shift over, going through the gate, and my elbow hits the armrest here. So it gets a little awkward, it gets a little in the way. I'm not able to shift in a very comfortable position, especially when I'm driving spiritedly. It gets in the way, and half the time I end up lifting up the armrest to get a little bit more room. So as you can see, I have way more mobility, way more room to be able to shift properly and kind of not put my arm in an awkward position. So because of that, I started looking at a few different options. So you can see just how high it is from the passenger side, how high up the console is with the recaros, how much lower they sit and everything. So it's definitely an interference for sure. It is a really nice piece. I really do love the stock console and the design and everything. The carbon is beautiful. Now there was a second option that you were able to do in the E46, and that was the CSL carbon center console. The thing was, to me at the time, too expensive to do it. It was a beautiful looking piece. I always wanted to do it, but I never bit the bullet. When I had that car at the time, it was just out of reach, and they were actually very hard to get since E46 was pretty much the most current generation besides the E9X that just came out when I had mine. So very, very hard to come by. They were very expensive, and I was much younger, and I just didn't have the means to be able to get one. So I did the armrest delete that you were able to get from, I think I had from ECS Tuning or Turner Motorsports, one of those. And it was a really nice looking console. It was an OEM option. It also gave you a little sliding door to cover up the little cup holders and everything. So it was a really good looking piece for a relatively cheap cost. The CSL carbon one was too expensive, so I never ended up doing it. But with the F80, we are going all out and making sure we're doing it right. And the only way to do it in these cars, it's an OEM option, is the GTS center console. So as you can see here, this is the GTS or CS center console. Now I don't have it clipped down and everything, so that's why there's a gap, but it is absolutely beautiful. So as you can see, it is an entire console. It is the whole entire piece. It's not just the armrest piece here or the, the actual piece that lays on top. It is a full entire center console. Now, the differences between this obviously is no armrest, but also this is actually a different material. This is a smooth plastic, which I believe is a little bit lighter for the GTS. Obviously, that was had more weight reduction in mind than the normal M3s and M4s. The stock console, once we get that one out, I'll show you the differences, but it's a little bit different texture. It doesn't feel as smooth. It's a little bit different. I believe a little bit heavier material. And on this side, you got the little USB here, so you still retain that. The little iDrive buttons and everything go right here. So it's a really, really good looking piece. Now, obviously there's some things to consider here. One, you delete the rear vents, also the seat warmer buttons back here. Something to consider if you want to do this. I don't drive anybody in the car or anything like that. So, and if I do, it's just my wife in the front seat. So I'm not too concerned about that. So that is something to consider. Obviously you're deleting the armrest. So if you do use that for storage and stuff, that is definitely something to consider. I don't use it. I just put a pair of sunglasses in there, but I actually have something coming to store that since we are deleting this. But for me and my application, this is going to work beautifully. Now, for anybody wondering, I did some research before I did this. The e-brake handle here, so the whole entire e-brake bracket and boot is longer than the stock one. I had to confirm that with a few CS owners. They were actually like, yeah, I picked up the exact same boot that you have in the car right now from IND. They had a CS and they tried to install it and it was too short. So I was gonna reuse my one from IND, but since it doesn't fit, as you can see, I have M-Stitch, which we'll go over in a little bit. This console that I purchased already came with it. So I'm very, very happy about that. And we are all set to go. It also came with a cup holder, a different type of cup holder that's currently in the car, and also the trim here as well, but I'm going to be using my MF interior one, so I'm not going to be using this. So the OEM CS or GTS console comes with white stitch. Now, whoever owned this prior to me, they ended up doing a custom individual stitch. So they removed the Alcantara, redid it, and did the M stitch, which is perfect because this is exactly what I currently have in the car for the shifter here from MF Interior, and keeping that theme that I got going on in the car. So I'm really, really happy I found this. Now, I will admit, I did pay a premium for this one because of it. I was considering getting the one with the white stitch and sending it out to MF Interior, having them do it and getting it all knocked out. But considering, the cost of the white stitch one, plus sending these pieces out, waiting for them to get done, shipping them back all the way from Germany and everything, what I end up paying for this one already done is basically what it would have been getting it done from MF Interior, getting the white stitch one and everything like that. So, it was one of those things that's like, you know what, I'm just gonna pony it up now, get it done, do it right, get the M stitch one and just not even think about it and get it all installed and be good to go. So this thing is absolutely beautiful. I'm really, really happy with the condition and everything. I was a little kind of weary if it was gonna be the same material, the same color, because Alcantara can be a little funky in terms of the coloring. Now this is the true OEM M Performance black Alcantara that is used on all the M stuff. So it's a direct match, the stitching exactly the same thing on the boot. If you notice on here, it is a leather e-brake handle, which is really nice, but I'm actually going to transfer over the one from IND, the carbon one with the Alcantara onto here. This one's actually held on with some string. You can use a zip tie and whatnot. So I'm going to do some retroing and take the carbon one off of the IND one and throw it on here so we can have a really nice seamless look. So it's going to keep the theme. It's going to look really nice. It's going to look like it's been there the whole time. And I'm really excited to get this in the car. So it's a pretty simple install. There's just a few screws that you need to remove and everything, and a couple of trim pieces and all that, but otherwise pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Now, as for the buttons back here for the rear seat warmers, I may find a way to be able to retro them in. I may find a way to get them into the side here or something, or find a way to be able to, there's actually a little bracket or a little box back there to be able to maybe work something in. So I don't know, I may do that just to have the buttons there. So if I really do want to use them, or my kids are in the car and they want to use the seat warmers, it's there and they'll be able to kind of just, press the button and use that. So I don't know, we will see. The vents, obviously you can do something custom as well, but there is no ducting or anything in here. So I'm not sure if you can retro that from the stock one into here. You probably will be able to, but I'm not too concerned about it. I'm not worried about getting the vents in there. The seat warmer buttons is pretty simple, so we're probably gonna end up doing that. But let's go ahead, let's start removing the stock console in the car, get that out, show you guys a comparison between the two, and ultimately get this one in the car. So first thing we're gonna do is remove the shifter here. All you're gonna do is remove the boot first. I already started here. It's a little tougher to do than stock because it's Alcantara and it's kind of stuffed in there more than the leather, but just pull up here and you're able to get the boot out. And then in order to remove the actual shift knob, you're gonna pull up really hard. I do recommend when you pull this to keep your face away from here. I've heard stories of people knocking themselves out because they're pulling so hard and it ends up bonking them in the forehead and they see stars. So be careful of that, but all you gotta do is pull straight up and then this will be removed. All right, so we got the shifter removed. As you can tell, the camera fell over because I knocked it over. But here's the beautiful Auto Solution short shift kit. Love this thing so much. But okay, next thing we're gonna do is actually remove the e-brake boot. Same deal, you just wanna kind of pull up on here. Kind of hard to do this one-handed, but as I mentioned, the Alcantara is in there, much more firm than the leather. So let me go ahead and kind of break it loose and I'll show you how to do that. All right, so I got the boot started. That took some time. It's in there really, really firmly because of the Alcantara. And it's a little bit thicker because of the glue and everything, so be mindful of that. But I just used a plastic pry tool, got in the back, and I was able to pull it up. So what you're gonna do here, same situation, you're gonna just pull the boot up, then you're gonna pull this straight off, and then it'll be free. All right, we got the boot off. Now we actually need to get this carbon trim off in order to get the shifter surround off. There's actually a hidden screw underneath right here. There's also a hidden screw underneath these buttons as well. So this is actually pretty easy to remove. So actually, let's see if I can do it on camera right here. All right, so this is a little tricky, but you want to put your shifter, if you have a manual, up in 5th. And then you're gonna reach back here and there's a little clip you push in and then you're able to lift this out. So once you do that, there's just one connection there. So you just push the little tabs in and that comes out. And as you can see, there is one screw right there. Forget the size of it, maybe a T20. I'll let you guys know, but keep that in mind. Now we're actually gonna remove the carbon trim, which again is a similar process. You just pull up. You gotta get your kind of finger under a certain area. I'm gonna put the camera down and get it started first. All right, the best way to do this is start up here, use 2 hands and kind of wiggle back and forth, and then it pulls up, and then we can remove it from that one switch there, or the one plug, and then you can see right here is the hidden Allen that we're going to remove to be able to get this shifter out, so we gain access to all the bolts that we need to get the entire center console out. All right, so we got the carbon piece removed with the little iDrive controller. We got the EDC or the controls right here, remove the button. Now we're going to remove these 2 T20s. So there's one here and one right here. Then once you remove those, you're going to be able to pop this up and kind of slide it back. Then if you note right here, there are some screws like this, a couple of them up here. I'll show you where once we get to them. And essentially, I believe that will be it. I believe there's some screws back here as well. I'll let you know when I come across it, but let me get this shifter piece removed and then we can move on to the next step. All right, so now we got the shifter surround and everything off here. You can actually see 3 T20s. So there's one right here, one back there, one back there. And that is it for the front. And then if we go to the back, which I've actually already removed the back piece, which just pulls off. You disconnect all the little connections. You can move that to the side. And then there's 1 and 2. I believe those are 10 or 12 millimeters. I'll let you know. So you unscrew those and then the whole console will be able to come out. All right, guys, so we got the center console out. I'm gonna go over everything of how to remove it, but I just wanna say, that was a lot more work than I was anticipating. It was taking forever to find all the bolts and everything, making sure everything was unplugged. I got everything over here all taken out, so we are good. Everything came out nice and smooth. There was no issues. But the 3 bolts that you need to remove are actually, I removed the 2 T20s up front, one right here. These back here are 10 millimeters, so remove those. And then there's 1, 2, and 3 10 millimeters as well. Once you remove those, I went out back, unplugged everything, and then I kind of lifted it up and then out. This little part of the dash makes it a little bit more difficult, but once you kind of position it facing straight up, basically, you're able to slide it out. If you have DCT, it's much easier to remove since you can take out the whole knob. Obviously, I have manual, so it's definitely harder because the little surround here on the stock console, this part, it gets held up on here, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. If you have DCT, it's much easier to remove. So got everything removed. Now we can start transferring everything over. Now I was scratching my head for a little bit because I was like, wait, there is kind of like a insert here, and there's one not here. And I was like, man, well, you know, do I have to remove this? And then I was looking, and this part is all plastic welded in there. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. And then I started realizing that the GTS console is so much lighter and there's not as much to it. So you actually don't even need this piece. That's why it's not on here. This one's way heavier, so it needs more bolting points, and you don't need this part in here. So you're just gonna be using the 2 10mm out back, and then the 3 T20s up front, and everything else just clips right in. Also over here, as you can tell, I took out the little heater buttons. All they do is just pop out with some tabs. There's 2 each underneath and then 2 on top, and it pops right out. And what I ended up doing was just plugging them in back here for now. And I'm kind of just gonna leave them out like this until I find a solution. That way I can at least have access to them. I may even just pop up the little Alcantara piece and slide them in there just so they're kind of hidden for now. But I at least wanted to plug them in and leave them there. So I got those in. You also have to unplug the USB. It's inside the console. You kind of have to reach up under. What you do is actually push this little tab right here, and then it pops right out, and you're good to go. But man, oh man, that took way longer than I was anticipating. Oh boy. Also, as you can see, I took out the ducting for the air vents. It simply just slides right out. It comes out with the console here, so it's not like you're removing anything else. Also, if you can tell right here, look how big the e-brake bracket is compared to this one. So it's a totally different shape, much smaller. So if you guys need even more confirmation, for sure doesn't fit, as you can tell. So all right, now we simply just kind of put everything back in. I'm going to start by installing this. Just slide it back into place. It's going to be much easier. Plug in the USB, then you kind of just plug everything back in that you took out there. Each plug goes to a specific part, so you can't mess anything up. Oh yeah, also you can tell the material, or the design, or whatever you want to call it, is kind of textured on here, whereas this is nice and smooth plastic. So it's a little bit different. This thing weighs like, I don't know, 2 pounds. This thing weighs probably like 15 pounds overall with all the extra weight, and obviously the armrest is on there, so that's a little bit different. But yeah, oh boy. All right, I'm just kind of rambling on here because I'm taking a break, because that took, again, as I mentioned, way too long. So all right, let me go ahead and start throwing this in, and then I'll kind of show you how to piece everything back together and ultimately how it looks. So let's get this in. Got it into position. This is what it looks like without the top on, and all the other trim and everything. Wires are kind of just placed where it needs to go. This is for the buttons that go right here. This one goes to the iDrive. This is for your 12 volt over here, and I believe that's it. This one goes to I believe there's actually a sensor. Put the T20s in, 1, 2, and 3. Go in the back, put the 2 10mm, and then we can start bolting everything on. Oh, also I want to swap over to the IND carbon handle as well. I'll show you how to do that. So now we're going to transfer over the IND one on the M Performance e-brake boot. I got a cricket going on over there. Sorry about that. For this leather one, which is actually really, really nice. So I don't know. Let's switch over to the carbon to make sure everything matches. So all we're going to do is simply turn this inside out. This one actually has a zip tie on here, so I'm going to do the same thing on this. I think this just one has a string on it, but let me go ahead, turn them inside out, show you what it looks like, and show you how to transfer it over. All right, so both of them are inside out. As you can see, the IND one just has a zip tie, so you're going to snip that, and then that simply comes off. This one has some string wrapped around it, so I'm just going to cut that and swap it over. So simple as that. I'm going to use a zip tie like this, and just make sure you position it in the same orientation, and you'll be good to go. All right, so sorry, I got the fan on. I got a little warm in here, but we transferred it over. Looks beautiful. Got it in the right position. It's not being bound up by anything, and it looks great. So this one's actually pretty darn nice. It's in really good shape. probably just throw it on there or something, or I don't know, keep it with it. So I don't know if I ever go back to stock, I can use that, or I don't know, we'll see. But all right, so everything's ready to go. We got the shifter trim and everything set. The only thing left is I got to transfer this on over. There's just a few, I believe, T20s most likely, 1, 2, and 3, and then transfer that on over to the GTS one, and we can start throwing everything back in. Oh boy, look how good that looks. Super simple, as I mentioned, just 3 T20s. Slip it from underneath and tighten it back up, and it's good to go. I ended up cleaning this up as well with some Sonax Alcantara cleaner, which I use on all my Alcantara, and it wasn't even really that dirty, but I figure I might as well while it's out of the car. But whew, looking good. All right, so now we can start the exciting part and getting all this stuff in here. Guys, we are finished. It turned out so good, and one thing that I love, not only is it M-stitch and Alcantara, the stitching comes along here and runs and matches up with the shifter boot. So even the same thing here, comes here, connects there. It just looks so seamless. Honestly, it looks like this was meant to be. I understand that people are like, oh, you know, you're getting rid of your armrests and everything, but I can easily still put my arm there, no problem. It's actually more comfortable because my hand is right at the shifter instead of kind of pointed down like this. So I am absolutely in love with this. Obviously, as I mentioned, you lose the storage, but I do have something coming tomorrow to hold the only thing that I kept in there, which was my sunglasses. So I'll show you that cool little thing that I got coming in. But man, oh man, this turned out amazing. Another thing that I'm actually really happy with is that when I installed the MF interior shifter trim, this piece, when I was installing this lid, one of the springs back there actually popped out and went underneath, and I couldn't find it, so I only been running one spring in here since I installed it. When I took it off, I found the other spring, so now I got double springs in here, as you should, and we're good to go. So that was really nice. But man, look how nice this thing is. It turned out so beautiful. I turned the car on, making sure everything was working. All the knobs, all the buttons, everything's working just fine. Also the little USB back here, I plugged my phone in, started charging, so that is working, so we are all good. I know I already said it, but I could not be happier with this choice. I could have went with the white stitch for way cheaper, but at the end of the day, I think this just works really well. And I was also doing some research or looking around, and I found some dash trim, this piece and this piece, with the exact same black Alcantara and M stitch. I don't know if that would be too much. Let me guys know what you think. Should I do it? Should I leave the carbon? Gotta think I also have the carbon on here, which I could also do Alcantara, but I got the wheel, so I don't know. I don't want to overdo it. I do like the touches of carbon. I do think it looks really nice, so I'll probably leave it alone, to be completely honest, but it may be cool to kind of tie everything in, which I love doing, and kind of making my interior unique and kind of make it my own. I do also have some really nice cool floor mats coming as well, which I don't normally do, but I got something interesting that I've never done before, and I thought it would be a cool little touch, so I'm going to throw them in for my motorsport love and heritage, and just kind of complete the interior. Now this is just temporary, but this is what I did with the rear heat switches. I just left the actual modules sticking out like this. I can simply just pop this up and tuck them in, but I left them like that. There's enough gap here where it's not pinching the wire or anything, so you can easily pull it out. Obviously I'm not going to be seeing that, so it's not going to really be bothering me, but I'm going to think of a solution. I may even see if I can get somebody to properly cut this out and try to fit them in there. I don't know, maybe do it on the side here, which would be cool. this is just plastic, so I don't know. I at least wanted to get the buttons in there, so at least got the option. My kid's never really driving this car with me. No one really does, for that matter, except for my wife every once in a while. But, you know, I mean, we do have the truck and the Telluride for family duties, so it's very rare that the kids are hopping in here, and plus 3 kids with car seats, it's kind of tough to get them all across in here. But either way, I just wanted to throw them in there. I know it doesn't look super pretty, but I promise I'll think of a solution for that. I mean, look at this thing. This thing is so cool. I love it. I think it really turned out awesome. Super great condition. I'm glad I ponied up the little bit extra for the M stitch, but I mean, this looks so cool. But all right, I'm gonna wrap it up for tonight. It's actually pretty late. Got work in the morning, so I'm gonna wrap it up here. I do have one more thing coming that I mentioned earlier that I'll show you as well in this video, and then we can wrap the video up. So we deleted the armrest. I'm sure some of you are like, hey, but I used that. I put stuff in there. Me personally, the only thing that I kept in there was a pair of glasses. I never put anything else in there. And let's be honest, the armrest compartment, the little storage area, really wasn't anything to write home about. You could hardly fit anything in there. It's not like the old days. This is going to age me a little bit, but you can't put CDs or anything in a storage area like that. It was so small, so I'm not too concerned about it. But keep in mind, there's still storage in the car. I still have the glove box here. I actually have the little area back here for a key. There's a little like pocket there, hard to see. Also, I have the little insert here for the cups, so I can obviously put a drink there, which I never do. I don't drink in the car. But if I ever need to hide something or keep it out of view, I simply just put it in the cup holder and cover that up. So I still have some storage capabilities that, you know, is more than enough for me. However, I didn't want a pair of sunglasses just floating around. I was thinking about just throwing them in here, but I found a solution, which honestly you guys have probably seen already, and that's actually converting your oh shit handle, which is up here. Let's be honest, nobody on the driver's side ever uses these. Why would you even hold on to that? But we're going to be converting this into a sunglass holder. Again, I'm sure you guys have seen this before. It is nothing new, but I decided to pick one up. It was pretty darn cheap. It was only like 20, 25 bucks or so. Got it on Amazon, came in a day. We're going to install that, so at least I have a place to put my glasses. So this is what we're talking about. This is actually a sunglass holder. So as you can see, kind of hard to do this one-handed. Inside, there is a little bit of felt material to protect the lenses, which is really nice. It's actually pretty soft in there, to be honest. And it's also got a nice finish. It's just made of plastic. It's nothing crazy, but it's relatively cheap, and it's going to solve my issue of having a place for my sunglasses. So this is a really simple install. I figured I would include it in this video because I know a lot of you are like, oh, I kept my sunglasses in there or what have you. I mean, you can put other stuff in here if you want, but let's take a look just so you guys can see an example. There really isn't much room to do anything or store anything. Right now, I just have the little e-brake handle there just for storage. So really not that much room to really write home about. So since I only store the sunglasses in here, we're going to install this. Comes with all the clips and screws and everything that I need. I'm going to show you quickly how to do that before we wrap this video up. So I understand we took away some storage, but we're going to be adding some for my sunglasses. All right, so here's the handle that I am talking about. Nobody uses this on the driver's side. You're holding onto the steering wheel. I've never ever used one of these in my life on the driver's side. So we're gonna remove it. Pretty simple. If we flip this down, you can see 2 little covers. So there's one there, one there. Gonna be really hard to do this with the camera in my hand, but basically you're gonna pop these little covers off, and then you'll see some clips under there, which I'll show you how to remove. All right, so we remove the little covers, and gonna be hard to tell, but there is a metal clip in there. It looks like a V. All you're gonna do is take a flathead or some needle nose pliers, something in there, and you're going to basically just pinch those together and then pull out. So I'm just gonna do one side, kind of pull on this, add some pressure, pull the other side, and it'll pop out. Same thing on the other side. You can see the little V clip in there, the little metal clip, and then the whole entire handle will come right out. So just to get a better idea what it looks like out of the actual roof liner, that is the metal clips I was talking about, and I used 2 screwdrivers. I pushed one side in while I got the other side pushed in with the other screwdriver, and they pop right out. So we can go ahead and store this away. Let's go ahead and install the new one. All right, so we're going to open up the package of hardware and you're going to see these two metal clips. Pretty self-explanatory. We're going to pop these right back into the respective holes. So we want to put the V of the actual clip in there. So we got the clips in. All you do is just pop them into place. They will be a little loose, but when you tighten them down, they'll be good to go. So now we're going to take the sunglass holder, and you can see the holes on the back side of it. We're going to line those up and then take the included Phillips head and screw it through the sunglass holder into the new clips. And they also include little covers that you pop on so you don't see the screws. So let's go ahead and do that and get this installed, and I'll show you what it looks like. Fits pretty nice. I mean, it's not perfect, it's not OEM, but you know, it's honestly pretty darn good for the cost, and I'm very, very happy with it. And it pulls down. You can see the little covers cover the screw holes, so it looks nice and clean. It is also spring loaded, so when you let it go, it closes, and obviously it stays shut. So let's test it out. Throw them in there, and we are good. So a nice place to store your sunglasses if you get rid of your armrest. I think it's a great option either way, if you do have an armrest or not. I think it's nice to have a specific sunglass holder so it's away from everything else. You don't have to worry about the lenses getting scratched in your armrest, you know, throwing other things in there if you do that. So it's kind of a nice little solution to keep your sunglasses nice and safe, easily accessible, out of the way. And when you need them, you just flip them down and you're good to go. All right, guys, we are going to wrap it up here. I appreciate you guys watching. Super happy with the outcome of the GTS center console, as well as the new relocated sunglass holder. Very, very happy with everything. It is just gonna take the driving experience for me to the next level. Not to mention it looks incredible in there, and I just really, really happy with everything. I ended up picking this up from a company called European Auto Supply. Awesome company, super awesome dude that runs it. Very, very responsive and communicative. Everything was great, and I couldn't have asked for a better transaction. He's an M guy as well. He owns a G82 M4. If you guys are looking for a GTS center console or other European pieces that you need, hit him up. He can definitely get you anything that you want. Really happy with the little sunglass holder up there. Even happier with the GTS center console. I am talking with my interior guy about doing something up here. I know I mentioned that earlier in the video, but I think we got something cool coming for that. We will see though, it's not 100%, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I did. I hope this helped anybody trying to install a GTS or CS center console, kind of walking you through the process. Also, I'm gonna leave a link below for that little Amazon sunglass holder as well if you wanna pick one of those up. Videos next week, I think you guys are gonna enjoy. I know I'm going to. Honestly, it's one of those opportunities that I didn't think was ever gonna happen, and I think you guys are gonna watch. It's gonna be awesome. I'm really looking forward to it. But as for this one, that's gonna do it. If you have any questions at all, be sure to ask them below. But in the meantime, keep it clean, keep it simple, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.
Hey, all work, no pleasure. I ain't here to make friends, big stepper. Hey, bad guy, Heath Ledger. Ready for